Hi, is this Jaku Hospital registration? Yes, I'll hold. Hi, I'd like to make an appointment with Dr. Ujiko. Oh, he's not in today? Do you know when he's going to be back or what dates are available? Never. Oh. What's up? It's Truth Hero, and oh, boys and girls, welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter review. Boku no Hero Academia chapter 259 in the manga. This chapter is insane. It is the beginning of the Hero Raid arc, or that's what I'm gonna call it. But Dr. Ujiko's identity has been revealed, so we'll discuss all this and the possibility that Shoto's mom, Rei, could be in the same hospital, and that's a lot of drama for the Todoroki family. So let's dive in. First off, let's of course start with Dr. Ujiko's identity. His real name is Shiga Murata. He is quirkless and is the founder and chair of Jaku General Hospital. Again, credits to Horikoshi for yet another Star Wars location reference here. But yes, you heard it correctly, he has no quirk. He's just really intelligent and gifted at engineering DNA, as evidenced from the nomu and of course all the high-end nomu that he plans on creating and giving to Shigaraki. Wouldn't it be crazy if Dr. Ujiko actually compensates for what he's lacking? So because he doesn't have a quirk and he feels useless in today's society, that's what's driven him to go to such great lengths building hospitals and clinics and orphanages, and in reality he looks like he's helping people, but actually he's feeding them into the system where all for one can take their quirks. So he looks like this goody two-shoes doctor, but he's slowly getting his revenge from behind the scenes with the kids and identifying people's quirks, and maybe even from dead people, which we'll talk about later on in this chapter, and he's just using his position to take people's quirks. That would be very dark. I know a lot of people thought that Dr. Ujiko might have a quirk that actually assists him in genetic engineering and medical science, and it's possible, you know, he might have had a quirk that identifies other people's quirks before it manifests, or some quirk where he can take quirks from DNA, or maybe even just high intelligence. And I thought it was possible, but I was more on the fence that he didn't have a quirk, and now it's proven to be the case. And the reason I thought that was because, one, I just didn't see Dr. Ujiko needing a quirk. I just thought he was the mad scientist, and sort of there's always the very powerful person and they have that lowly assistant that's not really good at anything. It's the equivalent here. He doesn't have a quirk. Now, he is great at science. But the other thing is, Dr. Ujiko is from the older generation. If you remember, not many people in Deku's generation are born quirkless. It's a very low percent. But once you keep going back up the generations, and Dr. Ujiko is 2-3 generations above Deku, it was like 50% of people didn't have quirks. This was, you know, the time where All for One was really big, or sort of just a little bit after it. So I think Dr. Ujiko was just a person that didn't get a quirk, while some did. 50-50 chance. In his profession, Dr. Ujiko supports quirk-based community healthcare and has connections to orphanages, nursing homes, and clinics all around Japan, which we actually learned about in the Ultra Analysis book before this. It means this minion of evil has unlimited access to quirks from kids and the elderly and people that are going to die soon. Now, the reason I say might die soon, it's not because it's a hospital and people are sick and they could die. I actually do mean people that are dead and Dr. Ujiko having the ability to harvest their quirks and give them to All for One or Nomu. And the evidence for this is that Tsukauchi's subordinate had to take an undercover position as a worker that's only accessible through the morgue. And we actually see him later on. There's a picture of him when they're looking at pictures of Dr. Ujiko. He's in the background. And then as the heroes are raiding the hospital, he's like, Tsukauchi, Endeavor, it's this way. Come on. It's scary enough that Dr. Ujiko has so many connections to clinics and hospitals all over Japan, but it's even more terrifying that he actually can work in the morgues that are connected with these buildings, or at least where these buildings unfortunately have to send their dead. Because who cares if a dead person's quirk goes missing? Does no one see how crazy this guy is? I mean, he can harvest quirks from dead people. What? And again, it's not even just the morgues or the hospitals. We learned from the Ultra Analysis book that Dr. Ujiko is responsible for some of the medical exams for prisoners in Tartarus. That means he definitely took Muscular and made him into the high-end Nomu. I mean, look how jacked that guy is. Also, we learned that Chisaki can still use his quirk even though he doesn't have any hands. Well, not anymore. Shigaraki probably has that power. Does no one see what I'm saying? Does no one see how insanely evil this guy is? Regardless of all the insanity, great job by the police and the undercover agent getting all this information and the photos of Dr. Ujiko. Let the hospital raid begin. Actually, before we can raid the hospital and talk about what the other heroes are doing around the Paranormal Liberation Front's mansion, one more thing about the hospital. Remember where this chapter, A Quiet Start, actually starts? It begins with Fuyumi returning from shopping and Natsuo and some other woman, perhaps his girlfriend, greeting her at the door. And by the look on Natsuo's face, Fuyumi is explaining something that's perhaps serious. I'm sorry. Remind me again what hospital Shoto's mother is in? While we of course don't know for sure, it would be crazy if Rei actually got caught up in the whole hospital raid. What if she couldn't evacuate in time and got injured? Imagine Endeavor is at the hospital gates. Would he get emotional and lose his focus on the mission if he sees her like this? We know that this chapter will focus on the Todoroki family by showing them, and as expected, some character development for Endeavor, especially if things heat up with Dabi. We also have to remember that Endeavor is seeking atonement, and that usually means going through some type of hell to purge you of your sins. What if Endeavor gets injured in front of Rei? What if Shoto and his mom forgive Endeavor at the hospital right before he dies or gets taken out of commission? It's possible now that if something were to happen to the #1 hero, the whole family would be there to see it. Next time on Keeping Up with the Todorokis. But seriously, comment below. Is Rei actually at this hospital that they're about to raid? And what happens if she sees Endeavor in action against the villains, or even worse, him getting injured by villains? Let me know your thoughts down below. We then pan over to the other side of town, and all these pro heroes and students are gathered in the woods outside the Paranormal Liberation Front's mansion. I mean, there's way too many to count. But Edshot says, "We got the place completely surrounded. Not even an ant will escape." I'm not going to cover the different teams or groups of pro heroes and students because you guys can look up lists for that or even just look at the manga chapter. But I will say there's a group of pro heroes and a select few students in it. And it's not who you would expect it to be. It's not Deku, Shoto, Bakugo, because they're on team evacuation from the hospital. So let's talk about these select students. Kaminari, Tokoyami, Amajiki, as well as Komori, Mushroom Girl, and Hiryu Rin, Ninja Scales Dude, are all on the front lines with these pro heroes. Komori's kind of worried and Midnight comforts her saying, "Hey, we only need you in the beginning, probably just to knock out villains with spores." And Kaminari misses Class 1A and questions, rightfully so, "Why am I on the front lines?" I imagine it's because all these students have great mid-range and long-range attacks, be it Scales, Mushroom Spores, and Kaminari's Thunder, as well as Tokoyami and Amajiki having great versatility, so it's great that we get to see these characters shine. All this being said, I think it's a trap by the Paranormal Liberation Front. What, they don't have sensors in the woods or hidden cameras? Like, they know the heroes are there. They're basically right at the doorstep. Also, what are the heroes going to do about Gigantomachia? I mean, I know we have the best heroes here, but it took Redestro, an entire Liberation army, and all the twice clones for Shigaraki to subdue him. So, heroes, good luck. Also guys, if you look really closely, you can see a pro hero that looks exactly like Chainsaw Man. So, good job Horikoshi, another sick reference. Right before they charge in, Endeavor asks Tsukauchi, is he the only one behind Jaku Hospital? I guess he's referring to Dr. Ujiko here. And Tsukauchi tells him, that's classified. What? Why did the police know something that no heroes can know? This might be because if the police know it or any other heroes know it, then it will get out and they can see who the traitor is. So the police have to keep it from all heroes just in case. But I still find this very suspicious, especially keeping it from Endeavor. Like, I think you would imagine he would not be the traitor here. Now, he could also be talking about Hawks, as he says, alright, I've prepared and done what you asked, let's go. But then again, if you're trusting Hawks with this information and he's trusting you, why wouldn't every hero know where every other hero is in this raid plan? I just don't get it. Speaking of traitors, Slide and Go looks confused, like, huh? Where did everyone go? And then the hero Death Arms grabs him from behind and says, oh, you're the only hero who's confused, huh? You Liberation Army traitor. I guess this would sort of mean that the pro-heroes do know which other pro-heroes are working for the Paranormal Liberation Front, since they'd be looking confused right now and they can just capture them. But I don't know, I still don't get it fully, and I just wonder how many heroes are actually working for the Paranormal Liberation Front. It pans to two regular citizens and they're just talking and thinking like, huh, there's not a lot of pro-heroes around today. And that's what it meant at the end of the chapter when it said, on that day, all of the heroes from the city disappeared. They didn't go anywhere, they didn't necessarily join the Paranormal Liberation Front, they're just getting ready for this boss raid. Then we have this last shot. Dr. Ujiko is humming along all happy, thinking about Shigaraki, and he'll be ready in a month, and then BAM! Endeavor confronts him saying, "Is it you? Are you the man? The brain? All for One's right hand? Prepare yourself, you minion of evil." And we see terror incarnate spread across Dr. Ujiko's face. This is awesome. I mean, again, I don't know if it's a trap, but if it's not, it was at that moment Dr. Ujiko realized he messed up. There's two things that this chapter kind of sets up and even raises questions for me. The first one is, you might think, why Dr. Ujiko? Why do this huge hospital raid on Dr. Ujiko? If you know so much about him, you know he doesn't have a quirk, right? He can't fight back. Also, if you connected him to All for One, it seems like that would have been in the past, so why not go get him way before this? If you connected him to the League of Villains, why not get him when they attacked UA? Maybe they're only making these connections now, and that's really the only reason they're going after Dr. Ujiko, and maybe he's the connection that led them to Shigaraki and the Paranormal Liberation Front. So, I think Dr. Ujiko, in my mind, is more of a sort of symptom of what they're trying to do. You know, they're trying to round up everyone that was even associated with All for One, and he just happens to be that person. I think the real target here is the mansion, and I'm surprised that the main characters actually aren't there. Like Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo are actually helping out at the hospital, so maybe they still know something that we don't. Maybe there's some classified information on Dr. Ujiko, like he has an army of nomu in the basement of the hospital, and maybe that's where Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto will shine. But it is kind of curious to see like they're devoting so many heroes just to get Dr. Ujiko. The second thing is, if he's so important to devote all these resources to, it tells me that he has some plans and he has some evil schemes that we're about to find out in My Hero Academia, and it's going to get dark. Like I've set up throughout this entire video about him having the connections to the morgues, the hospitals, the clinics, but I think this is a bit of a trap, okay? I think the basement and Dr. Ujiko's connections in the hospitals actually allows him to maybe hide some of his research down there in the hospital or at other hospitals and somewhere else in the city. And those high-end nomu, I think they're going to be ready. And I think our heroes Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto are going to have to fight them. So just expect, you know, this raid arc. It's going to be going on in parallels. We're going to switch back between the hospital and the Paranormal Liberation Front's mansion. And this is going to look great animated in like season 7 or 8 or something, but this is going to be a dark one, so get ready. As always, thanks for watching. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Will Dr. Ujiko be captured in this arc, or is it a trap? And what happens if Shoto's mom, Rei, is in fact at this hospital? I'd love to know your thoughts. If you guys like My Hero Academia content and these manga reviews, be sure to enroll at UA today by subscribing, and hit that bell so you're never late for Aizawa Sensei's class. Detroit, smash that like button, and share with a friend. Until next time, plus ultra.